Hi, everybody. It's CC and JT from the CC and JT Amateur Hour. But today we are wearing the Nevada Author Network hat. By the way, that's CC. I'm JT. The Nevada Author Network is a part of the Sierra Arts Foundation out of Reno, Nevada. It highlights the Sierra Arts literary community, a group of fantastic writers we have here in Northern Nevada. And what we do here on the Nevada Author Network is we try to highlight those writers. We are doing this in a partnership with the Sierra Arts Foundation out of Reno, Nevada, and our little company, Two More Books LLC. So this is great. And for this time, we are inviting Ashley-Hanna Morgan to the airways to talk about her latest book that she just got in her hands just recently. So we're really excited with you, Ashley. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your book.
Thank you so much. Yes, my book is called In Her Own Backyard, and this book is such a labor of love. It is everything I love mashed together. I'm a huge mystery fan. I have been since I was 5 and started reading Nancy Drew. And it is all about what if a woman who felt lost to postpartum depression started looking for a missing woman? This all came about because I'm a perinatal mental health certified therapist. I'm a social worker by training. It's March, it's National Social Work Month, so this is a fun time to bring this book into the world. But that's what I do. My private practice for the last 8 years was seeing parents in Reno, Nevada who were going through pregnancy, postpartum, mood disorders, also infertility, grief and loss. And so these subjects are really near and dear to my heart. I've had the honor and the privilege of hearing people's stories for years, and I wanted to put together the best and most interesting tidbits that people go through on their pregnancy and postpartum journeys and give them to the main character so that maybe a reader who just likes thrillers and mystery novels would learn a little bit about perinatal mental health on the side. And I think I created not just a main character who I love deeply, but a circle of mom friends around her to provide the support that I wish existed for every mother in that first year postpartum. And the book follows her journey. That first year postpartum is divided into months with a couple chapters in each month, the first year of the baby's life. And they go on this wild journey of finding out that maybe there's a missing woman that they should start digging into because the police didn't take it seriously. Now, I love our police and how they protect and serve our community, but it's fiction. So it's kind of fun to think, what if there was a cold case that fell through the cracks? And they get to dig into it together.
Well, that's amazing because as someone who had children myself, but my kids are now in their late 30s and early 40s, we didn't have that kind of resource available. It was just
Mhm.
muddling through day by day. So I know how difficult that can be. And I love the idea that you are having a woman who kind of feels like maybe part of herself is missing or it's changed, looking for another
Mhm.
missing woman. So did that come about from a real life experience with one of your patients, or was that just an idea that you had?
It was an idea I had when I was deep in the throes of postpartum depression and anxiety, and also a little known disorder because it's so rare called dysphoric milk ejection reflex that affects breastfeeding mothers. So I had a combination of things going on and had panic attacks as the cherry on top. And I used to walk every day from our house in the Virginia Lake area down along the Riverwalk, along the Truckee to Idlewild Park and back. That was my daily self-care and endorphin boost when my baby was able to sleep in the stroller. So while I would walk, I would listen to true crime podcasts with that little bit of dopamine for my brain to solve a mystery and a puzzle along with the podcasters. And that's what gave me the idea is what if in this fictional version, what if there actually were a real live cold case that this main character could dig into the same way that my brain lit up with curiosity when I listened to true crime podcasts. So that's where the idea came from. And I gave that to the main character.
Okay, so following that track, writers were told often to write what we know. And as
Hmm.
I was associated with Child Protective Services for a while, and those experiences ended up with a book. Though I'm not a worker, I was on the IT side. But I found myself as I got into the writing, I found myself getting a little too deep into the writing. How did you, as
Hmm.
a mental health professional, but also as a mother experiencing this, how did you take that step back, or did you take that step back and sort of disassociate yourself with what you're writing? It must have been difficult.
Yeah. Throughout my entire life, I have turned to books and words and writing and creativity as a resource to set myself free, if you will. I believe that we can have a dual experience where we are going through something, but if we can zoom out and get curious toward it and get creative with it, that we get that different perspective. And so this idea of being deep in it was intentional. I thought, I'm going to start writing this book while I'm in the midst of it. I'm going to save some of those raw experiences to give to the main character. And because this was my second time going through postpartum depression, and because of my experience and my training, I believed that I would come out the other side and be able to finish the book as my healthy self. And I also wanted to show that journey. So I gave the main character some of those raw experiences, and I gave her some of the real life coping tools that I use myself, that I use with my clients. And I did also give her creativity to write poetry as one of her coping skills. So there are 9 original poems that I wrote for that main character, Marlowe. I keep saying main character. I should just say her name. Her name is Marlowe. I love that because that's Christopher Marlowe, Shakespeare's rival, and a name that I did consider for my daughter, but my husband vetoed. So I love it, and I got to use it in the book. So I gave the idea of creativity as this healing tool, and also a way to get a different perspective on what we're going through to Marlowe. And those 9 poems that are sprinkled throughout, I think, give the reader a visceral feeling, like as if they're going through and feeling what she's feeling. And they also make it easier to understand because they are beautiful, because poetry helps us slow down and get curious, like, oh, why did she use that word? Or why did she put that on that line and not the other? So I think the poetry in it helps us feel with the character while also, like you said, not getting too deep in it because you get that different perspective.
And as you're talking about this, you are a mother yourself, you were a working professional,
Mm-hmm.
and you're working on the book, plus you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
take care of yourself as you're going through this experience. So how did
Yeah.
you find the time and basically the bandwidth? Because
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that you yourself were struggling. How did you balance all of that in order to get the book finished?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think little by little. My Nana used to say, inch by inch, anything is a cinch, that old phrase. And it was one of those things that when it came to me as a complete idea, I committed to it. And I just decided that little by little I would do it. I will say I started writing it in January 2020. So that was right at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. So during that year, right, especially the first half of that year, we were at home. I had both of my kids at home with me, and I was not working in that first half of the year. The second half of the year, I was seeing clients over telehealth. And now that is so normal. We do everything over telehealth. It's kind of great, makes things more accessible. But yeah, I would write a couple hours a week. Honestly, I just said, okay, every Tuesday morning from 9 to 11, this is my time to write. I'm not creative at night. I am too spent and tired after I put my kids to bed. So it's got to be first thing in the morning after preschool drop off. And then, yeah, just sit down, read a little poetry to get in the right mindset, and then see what flows. I will say this was my third book, but my first novel. And I did something I will never do again. I wrote it out of order. And I'm going to lovingly blame this on Celeste Ng, who wrote Little Fires Everywhere. I heard in an interview with her that she wrote whatever the muses gave her that day, whatever she was inspired about. And I thought, great, that's what I'll do. Terrible idea. I felt lost in my own mind by the end of it, especially because I was braiding together 3 strands of a story, right? The story of Marlowe's mental illness, the story of what's happening in their family and all the other characters, and then the story of the mystery. So I learned from that I will write in order next time, because an outline is a great start, but then once you've got different documents everywhere, I felt like beautiful mind. I was all over the place.
Yeah, this person is that way. She's writing historical fiction right now for the creation of Nevada.
Mm.
1964 type era, and the information that you
Awesome.
need from all angles of what's going on in Carson City. Yeah, beautiful mind. Let's
Uh,
continue. Let's continue down that technical aspect.
yeah.
You poured your heart and soul into this book because it is a part of you.
hmm
It's what happened to you.
hmm
And did you have beta readers? And if you did have
Yes.
beta readers, let's talk about, yes, I can take constructive criticism.
I
How
have
did that?
such a funny story about that.
So
Yes.
tell us about
So
the beta process and the constructive criticism.
yes. Oh my gosh. I wrote too much reality into this book. Not my personal reality, but I mean what people really go through. So I even gave the couple some marriage problems because research shows that two-thirds of couples have marital discord after the baby's born. Sort of a duh thing, but it is most people. And honestly, I had to take it out because the feedback was, this is a little too much reality. And then ironically, I'm part of a perinatal health alliance, and one of my dear friends, Andrea Knox, who wrote a fantastic book called "You'll Bounce Right Back: The 10 Myths of Motherhood." She was hilarious. She said when she read the book at the end, "You know, your husband character just doesn't seem realistic. He is too good. He's too on it. He is too thoughtful. He doesn't try to fix any of her problems. He just listens. He's like the ideal man." And I don't think it's realistic. And so it's funny to get both sets of feedback that are polar opposite. And we had a good laugh about it. And I told her, oh, honey, I had to make him the cardboard cutout of the ideal husband to balance the story because they have enough other heaviness in terms of a toddler acting out, because that happens in real life when a baby's born, and some of the mental illness and some of the things happening in the other characters' lives. So it was just so funny to get polar opposite feedback. And I think that's when you have to know, like, what is the goal of the story? What is my story I'm trying to tell? Of course, everybody would write it differently. We're all different with different life experiences. But what is true for me? And my goal with the story was to write a reality I wish existed for more people and to plant some seeds, right? Maybe some people will read this and they'll get an idea. There's a delightful scene where Aaron, the husband, shows up one night after he knows she's had a rough day, a rough night. And in one hand, he has a mug of her favorite tea. And in the other hand, he has a glass of champagne. And he says, okay, what do you need tonight? Where are you at? And it's just this idea that we would know enough about our partner to know what brings a smile to their face and do those simple little things. It's not even a grand gesture or anything that hard. It's just a simple little thing to bring a smile to someone's face rather than trying to dig into the heavy things and reason with them and fix their feelings. It's like, no, sometimes just be delightful and do a little something to bring a smile to someone's face. So that was my story I was trying to tell.
No, no, that's all good. That's all good. But it's funny that you mentioned
Mm.
the cardboard cutout of the perfect husband because I gave feedback on a group of people that's in another one of her manuscripts, and I said they're all so nice. They all get along. That does not happen in real life.
And this is fiction, and we get to play around with that,
Yes. So
thankfully.
you've mentioned that you enjoy reading poetry and that you included poetry in your
hmm
book. Did you
Yes.
find it difficult to switch between the prose and the poetry, or was it a nice way to maybe break things up on days that you
Mm-hmm.
weren't maybe inspired to do one versus the
Yeah.
other?
Yes, you're spot on with that. It's so nice to be able to pivot and follow the muses and do what lights up your brain that day. It also was something I did personally myself whenever feelings were really intense, to hold it up like a gem and look at the different facets. So I imagined Marlowe doing that as well. And also to maybe explain what she was going through in a more relatable way than just saying it through prose. That gets tiresome to hear the same thing over and over, right? But what's interesting about that is I quoted a Lucille Clifton poem in this book, and it was so daunting to reach out to her estate and say, may I have permission to use this excerpt of this poem? Feeling like I was sending an email out into the void, right? What if they say no? The poem was pivotal to the story. The line is, come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. And I have Marlowe, the main character, who does experience some suicidal feelings like many, many mothers do. Suicide is sadly the number one cause of death for mothers. The 1 year mark is a very vulnerable time. And so, as a way to show that that line of poetry got through to her, and this idea that we could celebrate every single day that we are surviving and putting one foot in front of the other, that she could feel that kinship with another poet. It was pivotal to the story. I thought, if I don't get this, oh, I'm gonna just be so crushed. And the really neat end of the story is her daughter, Sydney Clifton, who is also a poet and a writer and a film producer and just a beautiful human being. She wrote me back personally, and I was so touched. She appreciated that I loved her mother's work so much, and she said yes, and she said, send me a copy of the book. And so now I have my author copies, and I get to send her one today, and it feels like such a neat connection. That's the unexpected gift of this whole process, is meeting some really incredible people, including yourselves and the other folks in the Sierra arts literary community. Just really neat people along the way.
That is so awesome. And keep going down that road since you brought it up, because
Mm-hmm.
writing has so many valleys. It has so many valleys. But man, when the mountains come along, when the peaks come along, they are something. And you
Yeah.
just got one of your peaks, and you held it up there for a second. Tell us
Yeah.
about the reality of holding a book that you wrote in your hand versus the thing that's on the screen, which has lived in your
Mm-hmm.
brain ever. What is the yin and the yang of that?
Yes, it is such a rush. Oh my goodness. I sent a picture to my friends and family yesterday when it arrived, and of course posted it online, and my friend was like, "You're glowing." Like, yeah, it is that high, almost like right after you give birth, because you did birth something brand new into the world. When it's on a Word document and you're sitting alone in your room writing, it's so private and personal. It feels like you're creating something out of thin air, and it's a little bit holy. It's a little bit sacred. It feels like, yeah, my friend gave me a card that had a wand on it and said, "You're creating magic." And I kept that right up next to my computer, because there are moments where you're like, this is a harebrained idea. I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. I don't know if anybody's going to want to read this, but I'm just going to keep at it, keep clicking away. So to go from a Word document to seeing it formatted, right? Going through the Kindle formatting, that was kind of neat. That was another high of like, oh, it's in Kindle format, it's real. But to hold it in your hand and flip through it and see the acknowledgments that I wrote to my friends and family and supporters, like, and readers, to see the book club questions I put in the back. I like can't wait to talk with people in book clubs.
Hold it up. Hold it up.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, there it is, you know? It's like, yeah, be proud.
Yes. And the cover, right? I imagined that there would be a mother holding a baby looking through a window, and it would be dark and spooky outside. I love what the graphic designers did with it. I like that they flipped the perspective, and there's this creepy shadow. There's someone watching her through the window, and she doesn't know that there's a night visitor, which is based on a couple scenes in the book. So to see, like, it's better than I could have even imagined. And then, of course, to see your name on the front and your picture on the back and advanced praise, things like that. It's just, yeah, it's magical.
No, it's amazing. And it sounds like you had a wonderfully supportive community with writing it. So, what are you hoping
Hmm.
will happen as you put it out into the world? Are you hoping maybe that it brings people together and creates communities of readers?
Absolutely. I feel really blessed to have a community of writers and reader friends. We're going to host a little event at the Radical Cat bookstore in Reno the same weekend of the book festival. So June 6th and 7th, there'll be those couple of events. Of course, talking to, the perinatal health community about it too. I feel grateful to have that professional support network of other therapists and doctors and lactation consultants and doulas, all the important people who help touch a mother's life, who have been excited for me through the process. Or they're like, yeah, there aren't very many novels where a main character is going through postpartum mental health struggles and you get to see it through her eyes while also enjoying a really fun story. So I feel grateful for their support. I'm most excited to connect with readers and hear what they think, because everyone who's written a review so far, which I'm super grateful for, and the folks who wrote advanced praise, everyone has noticed something different. And that's such a joy as an author to see what people picked up on, what they liked, even to wrestle with the actions of the characters, like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have done that. Why did she do that? And it is fun because it's fiction. People can imagine themselves going through it. And so my deepest desire is that someone will pick up this book who would never have been interested in something about perinatal mental health and learn that this is a big thing. This is something that affects 1 in 5 mothers, and that's only what's reported. There's so many other cases we know that just go under the radar. They're not reported. Postpartum depression affects 1 in 10 dads also. The dads are in there and need support too. When one partner has postpartum depression, then the incidence rate goes up to 50% likelihood that the other partner will also experience. Because we're mammals, we co-regulate with each other. We pick up on each other's nervous system state, right? So if our partner is depressed, of course, it's going to increase the likelihood that the other partner will go through that as well. And we're not able to support each other. So I just can't wait to engage with readers about it. And I hope that it will spark more support, more community support, more systemic support, things like paid leave and more accessible childcare. I know there's a lot of great organizations working on those things, and I have a list of resources in the back, ways that people can find a therapist, organizations that they can volunteer with and support that I'm a part of as well, ways they can do advocacy. So all of these are touch points that I'm hoping to connect with readers on for sure.
For CC, when I say that, we're picking up on your enthusiasm and your energy for this a very important topic, this very important subject, and
Yeah,
we have even
thank
more
you.
respect for you because of that, because this is a passion
Yeah.
for you. So,
Hmm.
kudos to you for picking up this very important cause and shedding light on it. Because I can tell you, when
Thank
we
you.
were of a certain age, we were basically told, suck it
Just
up,
muddle through
and
it.
muddle up,
Yeah.
suck it up,
Yeah.
and it's not that easy.
No.
So, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Ashley, where can we find you on the internet? Where can we find your book?
Yes, you can find In Her Own Backyard on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and then right very soon at Radical Cat Bookstore. What's neat is you can request that the library have it. I've requested that the library have it, but all those things help. You can request other local bookstores carry it. It's distributed through Ingram Spark, so any local bookstore can get it. I'm on Instagram at Ashley-Hanna Morgan. My website is my name, ashleyhannamorgan.com. No dashes or anything. And I would love to connect with readers. I'm open to doing Zooms for book clubs, right? I'm open to communicating with people and hearing their stories too. That is a passion, and it is the privilege and honor of my life to connect with people and hear their stories. So thanks so much for this opportunity to share about In Her Own Backyard. Really
Oh, no,
appreciate it.
it's definitely our privilege.
Yes.
And so we've been blessed by having Ashley-Hanna Morgan here on the Nevada Author Network, which again is a partnership between the Sierra Arts Foundation out of Reno, Nevada, and Two More Books LLC, our little bit company. You heard Ashley mention the Book Fest. If you are interested, you'll be able to see all three of us at the Book Fest coming there on
June 6th.
June 6th. So we look forward to meeting you in person, Ashley, and we really
Mm-hmm.
encourage folks in the Reno Sparks Carson area to come on down and see all of us, because there's so much literary talent. You might be surprised. If we don't
Mm-hmm.
have anything else, thank you again, Ashley.
It's been
Thank
wonderful
you.
meeting you. Thank you. And this sounds like a really important book. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Thank you, CC and JT. I appreciate that. And I sincerely hope you enjoy it. Have fun with it.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Take care.